As soon as they introduce and announce the first trillionaire, guys, just know it's going down. That's the installation and the inception of the one currency, one God, or one nation under one God, under one currency, under one leadership system. And guess where that leadership system is going to be best at? United States. Because when you look at some of the things that are actually happening so that they lead to the announcement of the first trillionaire. Remember, we've never had a trillionaire since the foundation of this planet Earth. And him being announced is actually a change. It's a change of dispensation. It's a change of economic shifts. It's a change of um, the forces that influence trades. It's a trade between country to country and also between that country itself, that nation, that specific nation where that first trillionaire is going to come from. It also dictates the direction of uh, what currency, and then, and I mean in currency I mean money, how money is going to circulate in the money markets. It also dictates how business is going to be done. Levels of businesses from SMEs to startups to established franchises. It dictates how trade is going to be happening between inter-country trade to trade, especially with that country that already has, the first trillionaire. And also, that's going to be an introduction of so many other laws and rules that there's going to be a possibility of actually some currencies either just wearing out and phasing out and them being forced to embrace the dollar. Us right here in Africa, we are trying our very best to ensure that we de-dollarize our countries, but it's going to be an extreme big fight, a fist fight that could possibly cost us maybe relationships, especially those of us that have very strong multilateral or bilateral relationships with the United States that still considers itself as a superpower country, and it is in its own right. And plus, just look at the state of their you know armory, weaponry, everything that they have in terms of being prepared to go to face any kind of war. Just a couple of weeks ago, was it last year or early this year? Rather early this month, because we're still in the last days of January. There's a place where President Donald Trump, in an interview, in a news interview, he says the world just doesn't know the kind of lethal weapons that could obliterate the enemy. And by that, he was trying to imply to Russia's Vladimir Putin that you try us, and we will show you what we are made of. You dare do unleash this and that. And we are also, with that, it's going to trigger a lot of, you'll start feeling a sense of apocalyptic events and plans and announcements. And most of those plans are going to touch a lot on how to use the algorithm and social media. So there's a possibility that the United States is going to start phasing out, content that they feel should not be broadcasted or should not be visible in the algorithm. Here's why. For example, Russia is doing its own military showcase, and it's because politics is driven by propaganda, right? They have their representatives and propagandists everywhere. There's those who are in the United States, in the left, in the right, neutral, whatever. They'll always want to taunt their contender and show them what we are made of. So, and that could trigger a lot of anxiety and panic. And that's what the president of the United States doesn't want. And also remember, all social media platforms are headquartered in the United States, from the Metas, owned by Mark Zuckerberg, Amazon, biggest, owned by Jeff Bezos, Microsoft, owned by almost all the AIs. Look at X, one of the biggest platforms. TikTok now, they've bought the rights. Interesting, owned by the United States. So it's going to be a very touchy and trying, wavy and stormy time for most of these countries that would love maybe to have their content broadcast or even reviewed in the United States. And that's why they've introduced new laws. But this new trillionaire announcement is going to shake the world and turn it upside down. And others will call it the beast system. Others will call it the beast. But once they introduce the first, and then they introduce the second, and they introduce the third, that will be the apocalypse. Boom! The apocalypse. Boom! And I believe it and I'll be right here to report it to you once they introduce the first, the second, and the third trillionaire.